Looking at the back page of The Sun, the hokey Coakley is the headline. Carsley rules himself out of the job and then rules himself back in again. He's a bit flip-floppy, isn't he, bless him? The Times going for job needs a top coach, says Carsley, and a lot of the papers going with the same picture of Jack Grealish's celebration, sucking his thumb. That tribute for the goal towards his brand new baby daughter, Mila. The Guardian this morning going for playing it safe. Carsley fears losing focus if he throws his hat in the ring. Do you want the job or not, Lee? That's the headline on the back page of the Daily Mail. And the Mirror going for Finn and Tonic. England back to winning ways in Helsinki as Carsley refuses to rule himself out of taking the job. So it's a lot of am I taking it, am I not? I feel a bit for him in this situation with the England press because they're so hard to please, and I also feel he's the guy who doesn't want to say too much and build himself up and then get caught for speaking ahead of his time or how good he is. You know, but you have to master the press when you're the England manager, right?
Just a few times, yeah. I said to Jeff off air, you know, when we was in the island camps, we used to laugh of the pressure that was putting on England. We'd see it and Jack Charlton, obviously being English and managing Ireland, you know, would look upon it and think, yeah, that's one of their problems is that it's intense, it's full on all of the time. And if you don't answer a question, they'll find a way of getting you to ask another question that forces you back into the same position.
And, you know, I don't know Lee Carsley at all, never met him. Everybody tells me that he's a lovely fellow, but he can't keep on making the sort of blunders that he's making at the moment. I'm not talking about picking the team. That's a completely different matter because, you know, after the last game, he said, basically, I can't wait to get back to the under-21s. I mean, you can't keep doing this. This is one of the top jobs in world football. You should want to, you know, crawl over hot coals to want it.
Yeah.
Do you think if he says that, though, he risks then not getting it and hurting himself? So he's almost acting like, I don't really want it anyway.
Shebahn, what is wrong with saying you want
the
it?
job?
I don't know, because he's instantly judged.
That's what your
so
heart
many.
says, and your head is like, I want this. I don't see that as an issue.
I think he'd be judged less harshly if he said that, I want the job, and he doesn't get it. People would have said, well, at least he's got the ambition, you know. Go back to the under-21s, be brilliant with them as he has been in the past. But this, you know, I'm not sure I'm good enough for it effectively. And then 2 minutes later, and clearly somebody from the England media departments had a word with him after he spoke to TV and radio and said, you can't say that, you know, and consequently he's done this complete about turn.
Yeah.
And I just, regardless of what's going on the pitch, and as I said to Cass a minute ago, he's made some really bold decisions, like them or not. He's shown he is not afraid to make decisions about other people, but with himself, he's not helping himself.
Isn't that a contradiction in itself, Jeff, that he's made really bold decisions as the way his teams play? You know, he's been really bold on making that call. Yep, he's playing Andrew Gomez is coming in. I'm playing Trent at left back. I'm playing Bellingham as centre forward. And that's not been an issue at all. He could have got way more bad press from that, you know, and he's had a bit because of the Greece result. Yeah. But I think he's been pretty firm on the way he's felt about things.
Also back page of The Sun, Trent's hit the jackpot. Tom Barkley writing, Jack Grealish offered Trent Alexander-Arnold £500 to punt in a free
Well, that'll
kick.
change his life, won't it?
He needed it. He really did need it.
Sake.
What's the least amount of money you've gambled away in a result with your players in camp there, Cass?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. I've probably punted too much in my life. Having little friendly bets. The friendly bets are for £5, you know what I mean? And who takes penalties and when you score. And I mean, we used to have one with Ireland, and I tell you, used to clean up all the time, Noel Quinn. We used penalty shootout when we were in tournaments, and he'd be the goalkeeper. And if you took 3 penalties and you scored 3, Quinny had to give you a tenner. But if he saved 1, you had to give Quinny a tenner. He cleaned up, Noel Quinn. Absolutely cleaned up.
I had 10 quid on Poonam to God have Strictly Come Dancing at the weekend, so that was money wasted. But Merce, that poor Merson, the best footwork of the entire weekend. Forget England against Finland or Finland against England. Merce was absolutely sensational on Strictly. He did something I never thought he could possibly do, and he mastered a quick step, and I'm not joking. He was brilliant.
So because normally he's been in the sort of the final 2, hasn't he? Most weekends.
He wasn't this time. He's through to week 5. And that's despite the fact that miserable, moaning Craig Revel-Horwood gave him a 4. But the rest gave him 6s and 7s, which was more appropriate.
And 4's all right from Craig. This is just his brand. This is what he does. He really goes above
Well, I tell you
like
what,
a 5 in the opening
a few
weeks.
years ago, I saw Craig Revel-Horwood starring in Panto in Southampton, and he'd have got a 2 from me. He was hopeless. Can't sing a note.
Is it true that Mercer's given all of his earnings from Strictly to charity? Or he's given it all away? Just reading some of the papers just now. Incredibly lovely.
Not to my knowledge, no.
He might have given a bit away.
He might be. I just don't know.
Okay. I won't put him in it then. Another news, let's go to the cricket. Ben back, Stokes return as hosts stick with the pitch. This is an interesting story. John Etheridge saying that Ben Stokes appears certain to return as England prepare to play on the same pitch in which they smashed a string of records. So Captain Stokes yesterday operated at full pace in the nets and bowling. Consultant Jimmy Anderson expects him to be fit for tomorrow's second test. And this is interesting about the pitch, isn't it, Jeff, using the same one again?
Same pitch again, yeah. I mean, it was...
A lot of runs then, Jeff, weren't there?
Well, there were a lot of runs in the first test. It was dreadfully flat. But then the story was that by, the fourth and fifth days, the cracks were opening. Now, whether the cracks will open much earlier... I'm not an expert on cricket wickets, but whether the cracks will open much earlier and make it a much more difficult batting track remains to be seen. But even though we got 800 and odd, I didn't enjoy those first few days. I thought it was pretty tedious stuff.
It was indeed. We'll be back with a second test. When is it? Starts on tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
There we go. Breaking news. Yeah.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.